So we're going to talk about this Daughtry song called Crawling Back to You. So this is just one of the mixes I did last year. It was like a turning point mix because it was important for me because it was a song that the artist really needed to hear, have an attitude and have something to start the album off. This was the thing that jump-started me mixing the rest of the record. So there was a little bit of pressure on for me to really get CLA and get in there and make it do something. And it turns out to be like his current single, and it's doing really well. And one of the things about it was I had to do things I don't normally do, which is just push things over the edge and then kick them down the hill. Which means when you think you've gone far enough, you haven't gone far enough at all. And then make it more about the vocals. So it was a push because the producer and the artist were looking for me to this is the third Daughtry album for me. So we need Chris to not continue where he left off, but kind of raise the bar a bit and do something a little different. So I love when the pressure is on. So it became, it became a tough one for me because the heat was on and the pressure was on. And even my first revision of it was no, that's way too not aggressive enough. I'm like, wow, it's going to be an uphill battle. So it took a couple of revisions to get it, but I finally got it into the sweet spot for him. And they were excited and made the rest of the album really happen, smoothly after that, really bonded with the artist. So I was excited about it for sure.
That's one. That song is a really good example of one of the anthemic songs. Was it kind of? How did you create it with that song in particular?
I mean, I had to actually move I had to move the faders more than I normally do because it wasn't just doing it by itself. So I had to make it grunt and groan and make it be the anthemic thing that I like, which was fun. So I enjoyed it. I mean, I just had to move. I had to move reverb returns to make it do stuff. So it was fun. I mean, I love a challenge. I hate when it's too easy.
That chorus really kicks in.
Yeah, that's a good chorus. Now, he sings great. I mean, I love Chris's voice, always have. And, I mean, even winning fourth, he's always number one in my book. So
it seems very hard to break into this industry, more so than ever, maybe, especially mixing. What do you think it takes to break into it?
Well, that is the inevitable question, isn't it? It's a really tough question. If you're going to break into mixing and you're already an engineer, that's an easier one. I'll do that one first. The only way you can go from being the engineer to mixing is to mix everything you can get your hands on for free until they're impressed enough to use it. And that's what I did in the beginning, is as long as you have the file, you have the power. So if you want to try to kick me to the curb, or Bob, or Serban, or whoever's doing it, Spike, if you want to kick one of the heavy hitters, then you got to come up with something better than we're going to come up with, and you got to do it on your own time. So that's the best way to win, is to have the file. So that's my best, that's the advice on part one of your question. Now, just breaking in the business, it's a big question, and it's a hard answer. I mean, but it takes a certain instinct. You have to really want to win at this business to get somewhere. So your attitude has to be better than the next guy. Whoever wants it more wins. And whether you want to be a music publisher or a music engineer or producer, engineer, artist, whatever, that if you're going to go the extra mile, just a little bit more than the next guy, you got a shot at it, because it's so tough that way, where energy level is all that matters, makes it work. So that's what I would do.
So you've made your own plugins. What was that like?
It was really interesting because I'm kind of anti-digital. I'm not really a plug-in guy to begin with because I have tons of outboard gear. But when I looked at Waves, because Waves is the biggest plug-in company, and they really go after it. They really spend a lot of time making it perfect. And Mike Freitas from Waves helped me really see the light on, you can actually make that plug-in sound as crusty as my old limiter. So we did 2 rounds of plugins. We basically took my favorite compressors and made the CLA compressor series, which was cool, which emulated my favorite gear. So I thought that was easy. And then they're like, well, why don't you design your own signature series? Well, then it took it to a whole new level of homework. So I created the all-in-one CLA signature series for drums, guitars, bass, something that the user could have. One plugin gives them everything on one box. So it was actually cool because I was surprised on how much I actually use my own plugins.
Can you hear when other people have used your plugins?
Yeah, I actually hear it. I actually see it in the sessions I get that they have my plugins in there.
That's cool.
The first one I did was the SSL, which was emulating the SSL EQ, which I know so well, so why not have me endorse it? So that's how I got my feet wet, but yeah, I do hear people. It's kind of interesting.
Okay, if you were to put together a dream band, who would be in it?
Whoa, wow, that's a tough one. That's going to offend people on so many different levels if I start picking without picking the right people. I mean, a dream band for me would be Jimmy Page, Pete Townsend, Zach Starkey, David Gilmour. There's my 3 favorite guitar players. That covers that. Singer-wise, Mick Jagger would be amazing. Stevie Nicks would be amazing. Those 2 together would be amazing. Tina Turner, those 3 running the front. I mean, keyboards, like the list would be endless. Jamie Mahobrek is probably one of the greatest keyboard players. God, that is so tricky with all the people I work with, but I would just probably pick my legends and make them into a super group.
And what song would you have them cover?
Stairway to Heaven.
Oh, wow. What's next?
Wow, what's next? You know, I think 2012 is the beginning of a great year of developing more relationships with the labels, with the artists, and trying to get in and help more the building process from the ground up. Not just be the finish line guy, but to get involved in how do our records sound? How can we make our records sound great? How can we make the quality of what the artist gets great? How can we help the artist from the start make the connection with the label? Like somewhere get plugged in more than just the finish line guy, here comes finish line. I'm trying to use my power and my expertise to tie artists in with from demo to master to signing and from MP3 to high res and do something that's a little bit more broadband on the whole scope of music rather than just the one niche that I've really worked at to make great. So I'm excited about it. I mean, you know, the music is always exciting me. The business is always exciting for me. And it's all about a good song. Give me a good song, and I think that the heavens will open up, and that's all that matters. And every kid wants to hear a hit song. And
If you had one piece of gear that you could take with you on a desert island, you can only have one piece of gear, one outboard gear, what would it be?
my ears. And I wouldn't need anything else.